So as promised, here is Utagawa Hiroshige's snail. Now, as I mentioned, the snail, which you can see in the picture, has chopsticks for its two antennae. Now, you may have seen me making a snail shadow before, where I just use my hands, and one hand goes like this, and one hand makes the shell. And the shell is quite far away, the hands are quite far apart, you can see they're not touching, to make the shell a nice size so the snail can slide in and out. But here is an ingenious way to make a snail that's completely different, a really lovely idea. So he uses two chopsticks. I had a look around, I thought, what have I got that's quite thin? I thought maybe pencils or pens, but they're quite thick. And I found these two wooden spoons. Now they're quite wide, but of course if you turn them sideways, they're quite narrow. So it's a little bit more tricky, I would say, than the chopsticks, but what I've done is I'm actually holding them with my right hand and holding them so that they sort of turn slightly sideways and together. So they're like that. Because what you're going to do is you're going to make that position, this position like this, which I made for the tortoise, to make the snail's head. Now obviously we don't want legs, we don't want anything except that. And what Utagawa Hiroshige is showing us is a snail that looks like this. And then you just bring in the two chopsticks or twigs or the spoon ends, and when you've got them in position it looks like a lovely snail. And again, a bit like the tortoise, the little finger here is actually the snail's tail. Now you can see it's pretty tricky to keep the things exactly in position, so you really have to practice that, and that's the snail. And again, I did play around with different ways of doing it, so turning the hands around and seeing if it would be perhaps a better shape or a different shape if I did that. So I got some quite nice snails, and that's so snail-like and so lovely, so creative, and made with just your hands and something you can find in your house. You might have something better. You might have two long bamboo skewers. In fact, I do have bamboo skewers. I didn't even think of that. And they would be very good for making the little antennae because they're obviously very thin and easier to hold perhaps. But of course, chopsticks would work really well as well. So come back next time. I'm going to show you how to make the people. There's a lovely person on Utagawa Hiroshige's wood print. So come back then.